From ancient maps to unexplained ghosts and mysterious phenomena, our world is filled with secrets that continue to elude our understanding. Today, on the Top Facts channel, we continue your favorite segment and take a look at 30 of the most mysterious photographs that scientists still cannot fully explain. The famous map compiled by the outstanding Ottoman navigator named Piri Reis in the early 16th century still manages to baffle historians and researchers. Astonishingly, this document depicts the coastline of Antarctica, even though the official discovery of that continent took place only roughly 3 centuries after the map was created. The precision of the details is striking. Some suggest that the ancient cartographers with whom Piri Reis collaborated possessed certain special knowledge long before humanity as a whole acknowledged the existence of Antarctica. Moreover, the same map shows South America in great detail. It remains a mystery how, in an era of such modest capabilities, they could have obtained such accurate data. Some believe that it is all due to faulty rumors and random sketches, but others speak of traces of unknown ancient civilizations with incredibly advanced cartography skills. In the middle of the 20th century in the Soviet Union, a woman named Nina Kulagina gained fame. She was attributed with incredible psychokinetic abilities, and some experiments were conducted under the supervision of serious state specialists. According to eyewitnesses and researchers, Kulagina could move objects and affect various physical items without touching them. Scientists who observed her within the walls of the Academy of Sciences tried to rule out any possibility of fraud and even carried out secret filming. Skeptics, of course, are certain that it was mere sleight of hand. However, no one was ever able to precisely explain how she did what she did. Kulagina's story remains shrouded in mystery and prompts us to question the still undiscovered potential of human abilities. In the late 1950s, 9 experienced hikers set off into the mountains of the northern Urals and tragically died under circumstances that continue to puzzle investigators to this day. The discovered tent was cut open from the inside, as though they had fled in panic. Their bodies were found scattered in different locations, some with severe and inexplicable injuries. Among their personal items were rolls of film showing strange glowing orbs in the sky. Some linked these lights to a possible alien visit, others to ill-fated military tests, and there is even a theory about an encounter with a Yeti. In any case, this story remains one of the most eerie and unexplained in the list of anomalous phenomena. The mysterious story of the disappearance of 3 lighthouse keepers on Isle Moor at the very start of the 20th century can still send chills down the spine. Perhaps the most unsettling detail is the final photograph taken at the lighthouse before the men vanished. They say the chief lighthouse keeper looked extremely alarmed in that picture, and shortly after it was taken, all 3 disappeared without a trace. Rescue crews arriving on the island found no clues or bodies, and the lighthouse log contained strange references to ferocious storms and cryptic hints. Some believe they were simply washed away by a gigantic wave, yet others are prepared to blame mystical forces. In any case, that photo became the symbol of one of the grimmest maritime legends. During the infamous assassination of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy in the early 1960s in Texas, a mysterious woman was spotted. She was nicknamed the Bushka Lady because of the headscarf she wore, reminiscent of Russian attire. She appeared in several pieces of footage taken by various camera operators, standing, it seemed, right in the thick of things and filming with her movie camera. However, her identity was never established, and the film she supposedly recorded never surfaced. Ever since, speculation has abounded. Did she disappear out of fear once she realized what she had captured? Or did she have some other reason for vanishing without a trace? Her image remains one of the most intriguing details in the tangled web of mysteries surrounding that fateful day. In one otherwise ordinary snapshot showing children playing, a deeply unsettling figure suddenly appears in the background. He looks remarkably like the iconic Freddy Krueger from the legendary horror film series. In the distant corner of the photograph stands a man wearing a recognizable hat and clothing, as though he stepped right off the set of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Many have suggested that someone inserted the figure as a prank, yet photo experts insist that the shot was not subjected to any manipulation. It is entirely possible that it was simply a random passerby, but you have to admit, the coincidence is genuinely eerie. In a group photograph of the Royal Air Force from the first half of the 20th century, an almost imperceptible silhouette once caught people's attention, something that resembled the face of a man named Freddy Jackson, who had died just a couple of days before the photo was taken. The image appears to show him standing behind his fellow servicemen, as if he had not realized that he no longer belonged to this world and simply turned up for the group picture. Skeptics attribute it to double exposure or some optical illusion, but for those who believe in ghosts, it is one of the most striking examples of a departed person being present at the same time. During the last manned mission to the moon, known as Apollo 17, in the early 1970s, one of the astronauts took a photograph of the lunar surface, and far in the distance you can make out something resembling small pyramidal formations. To this day, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration has not offered a definitive explanation of what these mysterious structures might be. Some are convinced they are merely geological outcrops shaped like pyramids, while others theorize that they might be the remnants of once existing structures on the moon. With no further research and new high-resolution photos, the debate has not died down, and the speculation only continues to grow. A historical photograph dating from the late 19th century captures one of the boldest engineering projects in history, the Eiffel Tower under construction. It was built astonishingly quickly in just over 2 years. At the time, it was astonishing because it was then the tallest man-made structure on Earth. The tower remained the tallest in the world for more than 4 decades until a new skyscraper rose in New York. Moreover, the workers shaped the metal components by hand, which makes the result all the more impressive. The snapshot showing these efforts continues to amaze people and serves as a reminder of the technological audacity of that era. Sometimes in medieval paintings and old photographs, people discover objects that look like modern gadgets. For example, there is a painting where 2 figures by a river are holding out to each other some dark rectangular item with rounded corners. Some see this as a clear nod to a future telephone, or a photograph in which a Native American appears to be holding a small screen. Naturally, the most logical explanations are that these are merely mirror cases or some sort of small books. But those who dream of time travel interpret these images in their own way, so everyone is free to decide for themselves what is actually depicted there. In the early 20th century, the crew of the Watertown experienced a horrific incident. 2 members of the crew died from gas poisoning. Sometime later, when the ship was passing through the Panama Canal, the surviving sailors were horrified to see on the water's surface what seemed to be the faces of their deceased shipmates. One of the witnesses managed to photograph this chilling sight. The press of that time picked up the story, and experts from one well-respected newspaper declared upon inspection that they saw no signs of photo tampering. Many, however, believed it was an optical illusion, reflections, or some peculiar trick of light. In the mid-1970s, Diana and Peter Bierlow visited an ancient church in Norfolk, England, hoping to take a few amateur pictures. In one photograph, in one of the pews, a ghostly white silhouette appears, which, according to the couple, certainly was not there at the time of shooting. Local legends speak of a white lady said to have roamed the ancient building since the 12th century, and for many, this photo became confirmation of such stories. Skeptics point to tricks of the light or film imperfections, but experts examining the photograph found no definite signs of forgery. Since then, it has been regarded as one of the most striking proofs of the existence of ghosts. In the late 1980s, a woman known only by the initials MS decided to take a keepsake picture of herself sitting in the cockpit of an airplane at a British airfield. However, after developing the film, she discovered that, in the photo, Next to her, behind the controls, sat a man in a military pilot's uniform from the Second World War era. The woman insisted that there was no one else in the cockpit and that no museum staff approached the plane. Some paranormal researchers concluded it was the spirit of a pilot who had once crashed. Skeptics, on the other hand, believe it is much simpler. The pilot could have slipped into the shot without the woman noticing. Nevertheless, the picture continues to spark debate. In the late 1960s in Northern California, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin filmed a short movie on 16mm film, capturing what appeared to be a large, bipedal, fur-covered creature striding through the woods. Even today, the footage thrills some and makes others frown skeptically. Believers in Bigfoot point to the way it moves and details of its body, which they say would be hard to fake. This object, which some theorists believe has been orbiting Earth for thousands of years, is called the Black Knight. Since the mid-20th century, stories occasionally emerge in the press about mysterious radio signals that allegedly come from this strange structure. Some say that Nikola Tesla noted odd repeated signals on his receivers back in the late 19th century. In the 1950s, a number of astronomers and engineers also claimed to have picked up inexplicable pulses linking them to the same Black Knight. But since official science finds it difficult to prove the existence of some extraterrestrial satellite, all these accounts remain at the level of myth. A well-known photograph from the reopening of the bridge, taken in Canada in the early 1940s, shows a crowd celebrating the renewed opening of the structure. But one man is wearing dark sunglasses, seemingly sporting a printed t-shirt, and holding a compact camera, which looks too modern for that era. He was instantly dubbed the Time Traveler, and the speculation around him continues to grow. Some experts have clarified that such sunglasses did exist, and the camera could well be a model from that period. Of course, anyone intrigued by chronal anomalies sees this as clear evidence that time travel is possible. In the spring of the late 1990s, thousands of residents of Arizona witnessed a remarkable event known as the Lights over Phoenix. At night, people observed a large, silent craft hovering in the sky. It was lined with lights, and according to witnesses, it could have been either a massive disk or a huge V-shaped structure moving slowly over a considerable distance. Even the state governor publicly stated that he had seen these lights with his own eyes and demanded an explanation from federal authorities. Later, representatives of the Air Force claimed that these were training exercises involving signal flares, but most witnesses found this explanation unconvincing. Hampton Court is one of Britain's most famous haunted palaces, built in the era of King Henry. And for many years it has been the subject of frightening tales. Then, in the early 2000s, the security cameras there recorded something quite unsettling. A heavy door flinging open and a ghostly figure stepping out of the corridor. The palace security staff swore that no one could have passed unnoticed. Some say it was simply a technical glitch or a strange flare on the film. Yet the figure's movements appear distinctly human. Thus, Hampton Court has once again lived up to its reputation as one of the most ghost-inhabited palaces in England. Usually, when people talk about ghosts in photographs, it involves pale spots or semi-transparent silhouettes. But in one picture from a hotel in Norway, two women appear who are more than solid, and also completely unclothed. Interestingly, no one among the guests or staff saw these women in real life, nor were they listed as registered guests. That night, some lodgers complained about a sharp chill in the corridors. Upon reviewing the security camera footage, people discovered these mysterious ladies walking down the hallway hand in hand. No one ever figured out if it was a cruel prank or genuinely something supernatural. During the Apollo 14 space mission at the very beginning of the 1970s, astronauts took several photographs of the lunar surface that revealed strange glowing sources. Their positions changed in different shots, and the astronauts themselves reported seeing flashes off in the distance from where they landed. Specialists from the National Aeronautics and Space Administration offered possible explanations. perhaps sun glare or static discharges, but never anything conclusive. These lights on the moon remain the subject of many disputes. Maybe it is a rare natural phenomenon, or as conspiracy theorists love to say, a signal from someone else. While examining old photographs from the 1930s, people noticed that in one of the pictures, among holidaymakers, there appears a man who seems dressed in a modern t-shirt and shorts. Naturally, this sparked rumors of a visitor from the future who somehow ended up amid past-century vacationers. Skeptics point out that the clothing might look different in reality. Perhaps the shorts were simply rolled up. But for conspiracy enthusiasts, such details only fuel their excitement. They believe the strange individual stands out too much from the rest and therefore looks like someone from another era. There is one photo from the early second decade of the 20th century taken in the western region of Virginia. It shows an object in the sky that appears to be something between an airplane from future times and a futuristic airship. By the date of the picture, there were no aircraft so technologically advanced in existence at that time. Various theories arise. Could it have been a secret military development of that era, or a glitch in the photographer's exposure? But there has never been an official explanation. The photo itself retains the atmosphere of those days, when the skies were still not crowded with technology, and any strange sighting immediately took on an air of mystery. In the mid-1960s, a firefighter named Jim Templeton photographed his daughter during a walk on Solway Firth Bay in England. After the film was developed, behind the girl one could see a strange figure dressed in white garb resembling a spacesuit. The photographer insisted there was no one else around. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration claimed no involvement with the picture, and experts found no signs of tampering. One theory suggests that the figure is Templeton's wife, wearing a light-colored dress, and due to incorrect exposure and angle, her form appears like an extraterrestrial suit. In the 1950s, the Cooper family took a memorable snapshot at dinner. When the film was developed, it turned out that in the background, upside down, hung some dark figure right behind the people who were posing. Nobody present during the shooting saw anything like that. Some paranormal researchers are convinced it is a genuine haunting or a breach in reality, while others say it is a case of double exposure or film errors. Doubt is inevitable, but visually it is genuinely frightening, as though someone or something was there but only the camera lens revealed it. At the start of the 20th century, the British medium Colin Evans became famous for spectacular levitation stunts during seances. One of the most renowned photos supposedly captured the moment he rose above the floor in front of an audience. Some claimed it was undeniable proof of paranormal abilities, while others argued that Evans was simply skilled in using thin wires or some other hidden apparatus. Nonetheless, the photo was so dramatic that it still prompts heated debate. Whether an actual phenomenon or a clever trick, the story of the medium who rose into the air makes one wonder about the possibility of the incomprehensible. In the 1990s, tourists in the city of Ras Al Khaimah in the United Arab Emirates photographed something bizarre inside a cave. In the picture, one can vaguely discern a creature lurking in the darkness. After taking the photo, the travelers said they heard a child's cry from deep within the grotto. The police who arrived at the site found a body in a remote corner of the cave, but were unable to make a connection to any observed creature. Some people are sure it was a rare animal or a stray creature, while others believe it was a hoax. And the silhouette is simply a trick of light and shadow. That is our selection for you today. A big thank you for being on the TopFacts channel, in the laboratory of incredible compilations of facts and videos from all over the internet. Subscribe to the channel, leave your comments, and right now watch our 2 previous episodes which have already appeared on your screen.